In the heart of a bustling ancient city, a man named Stephen stood apart. He wasn't a warrior with a sword or a king with a crown. His power was something far greater, a fire in his eyes and a truth on his tongue that captivated everyone who heard him. Stephen spoke of hope, of a new way of living, and his words were like water to a thirsty land. Miracles seemed to follow him, signs and wonders that left people in awe. The sick were healed, the broken were mended, and a light of compassion shone from him, touching the darkest corners of the city. But not everyone celebrated this light. Some powerful men, keepers of old traditions, watched him with growing unease. Stephen's wisdom was different from theirs. It was simple yet profound, and it challenged their authority. They saw his influence spreading like wildfire and feared losing their grip on the people. So they began to whisper, planting seeds of doubt and suspicion. They couldn't defeat him with logic or truth, so they chose a darker path. They twisted his words, turning messages of love into accusations of blasphemy. The whispers grew into a roar. A mob, fueled by anger and misunderstanding, seized Stephen and dragged him before the High Council. The air in the Grand Hall was thick with tension. Accusations flew, each one more venomous than the last. But Stephen was not afraid. A strange peace settled over him. He looked at his accusers not with hatred, but with a deep, sorrowful compassion. He saw their fear, their pride, their blindness. When it was his turn to speak, his voice didn't tremble. Instead, it rang with clarity and conviction. He took them on a journey through their own history, reminding them of the great prophets their ancestors had rejected. He spoke of Abraham, Joseph, and Moses, heroes they claimed to revere. Then, his words took a sharp turn. He looked directly into their eyes, his own blazing with passion. "You stubborn people," he declared. "You are just like your ancestors. You always resist the Holy Spirit." The truth hit them like a physical blow. The council members were cut to the heart. Their faces contorted with rage, their knuckles white as they gripped their seats. They gnashed their teeth, the sound echoing in the silent hall. They had been exposed, their hypocrisy laid bare by this one, unafraid man. The fragile peace was shattered, replaced by a furious, murderous energy, but Stephen was no longer focused on them. Covering their ears as if to block out his words, they let out a unified, furious shout. The pretense of a trial was over. Mob justice took over. They rushed at him, a wave of pure hatred, and dragged him out of the hall and through the city gates. The bright sun seemed to mock the darkness of their intentions. At their feet, a young man named Saul stood watching, holding the cloaks of those who were about to carry out the sentence.